Rhaenys, who ended up on the throne in the Game of Thrones series finale. Warning: this post contains spoilers for Game of Thrones Season 8. Throughout Game of Thrones' 8-season run, many fans have had the same question: who will sit on the Iron Throne in the end? When Thrones began, we learned that King Robert Baratheon had ruled the Seven Kingdoms since Robert's rebellion ended Aerys II, the Mad King Targaryen's reign 17 years earlier. Since then, video Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 6 preview The Independent. But in terms of actual birthright, it was Jon Snow aka Aegon Targaryen. Jon had made it perfectly clear that he had no desire to be king, but in the Game of Thrones series finale, he was nonetheless forced to kill Daenerys to prevent yet another tyrant from taking over the realm. As Cersei told Rhaenys, who won the throne once Daenerys was dead. After Jon Snow killed Daenerys Targaryen in the Game of Thrones series finale, he was once again exiled to the Wall to live out the rest of his as a brother in the Night's Watch. It was left up to it, because there was no one with a birthright claim to the throne left. Samwell Tarly proposed that they let everyone in Westeros vote to choose their next ruler. However, one video Game of Thrones: The Last Watch official documentary trailer HBO. It was then decided that Bran Stark, aka Bran the Broken, what unites people? Armies? Bran Stark being voted in as the new king of the Six Kingdoms marked the first time in Westerosi history that a somewhat democratic system was used to select the ruler of the realm. And just as Bran ending up on the throne also lends credence to the theory that the history of Westeros is cyclical, something that Thrones has seemed to signal throughout its run. Gallery: incredible stills from Game of Thrones Season 8 picture services. George R.R. Martin has also appeared to hint at this in his A Song of Ice and Fire book series. In A Game of Thrones, not to mention that HBO previously fanned the flames of theory that history was literally doomed to repeat itself when it showed Bran the Builder being carried around on a platform, indicating he may have been paralyzed just like Bran Stark, in an extra about the history of Westeros on the Game of Thrones DVD box set. However, Bran sitting on the throne was not an ending that satisfied all fans. To many, Bran, just so I understand, Jon Snow is the true and the rightful heir to the throne but is sent to the Wall, one viewer tweeted. On the other hand, just so I understand, Jon Snow is the true and the rightful heir to the throne but is sent to the Wall. On the other hand, wait, what? However, Bran himself apparently knew that he was always destined to become king. I ask you now, why do you think I came all this way? Bran responded, Gallery: if you loved Game of Thrones, you will probably enjoy these 27 shows too. Insider. MSN UK are empowering happiness for Mental Health Awareness Month. Find out more of
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.